last year, a software company called Neural DSP
Yes.
released a guitar amp software called Archetype Petrucci.
Right.
So we thought it was an incredible time or great time to be able to reproduce your guitar sound using only computer software.
Right.
So how did you contribute to the development of this software?
Well, first of all, Neural DSP is a great company. They're an amazing company, and they are doing such incredible things, and they are cutting edge in every way. For the longest time, I never used, computer software guitar modeling. It's not really something I use, but when Neural approached me and I saw what they were doing, what they had done with the different archetypes, the Pliny archetype and the Abbasi archetype, and I saw the level of detail and commitment and technology, I was just blown away by what they were doing. And so when they approached me, I said, okay, I've never done this before. I don't use guitar software. So if I'm going to do this, we have to make this the best one you've ever made. And so we worked for the longest time on all of the details, so many details, so many meetings and phone calls and emails and, just incredible communication with the engineers and the developers on not only the sounds of the amplifiers, of the pedals, of the effects, of the cabinets. Jimmy T over here in the studio, he did all of the digital IRs for my cabinets with all the mics that I use. But not only that, but the user interface as far as the artwork and how it looked and just how it came across to the user. And we covered so many details, and we developed some things that they had never done before for the first time. So when it came out, and you could see the promotional video for it. I wrote a little song and used it to record the song, and it sounds incredible. And the great thing for me was that the reaction by the guitar community was so positive, and a lot of people said this is the best one they ever made. So that was my goal, because I was a little bit nervous because I didn't have any experience again, with that whole world. So I wanted to make sure if I was going to put my name on it, that it really, really was the best. And so I worked, those guys are incredible. The engineers are amazing. The owner, Doug, is incredible. Francisco, the main engineer, is incredible. They're just so talented and so committed and so cutting edge. So really happy to have worked with Neural. They're a great company.
While we think it's convenient and really wonderful for people who can use your sound, but for you, don't you have some kind of a mixed feelings? Because it seems unfair that anyone can so easily obtain your sound that you have worked so hard for so many years to achieve.
Well, that's funny. To me, it's like the way I look at it is it's a whole different environment. When you're in a studio and like I was describing my guitar setup, and you plug into an amp, or you're playing with a band and I'm playing through my boogie and it's cranking, that's a whole different experience. When I'm playing live and it's my boogie and the cabinets and it's mic'd up, that's different. But the idea that you could sit down at a laptop with an interface and have this incredible production suite, this guitar production suite with amps and effects and things, it's amazing. And to me, it's just another tool. It's another cool thing to be able to enjoy. And one of the things that makes me really happy to be able to develop guitars, amps, plugins, is that other guitar players could then use it and make music and be creative and say, man, I really love this. This inspired me to do this. I think that's, to me, that's really special. So I'm happy that people can get my sound and play that way, and use it in that way, because even if they have the same gear as me, even if they have the same, they could go to this plugin. Every guitar player sounds different. Everybody plays differently. Everybody has their unique voice. So it doesn't bother me at all. I think it's wonderful, and I'm happy to share. I'm really happy to share all this great stuff with other players. It makes me happy.
Wow, how sweet of you. Well, let's talk about official bootleg series.
Yeah.
So, you have been releasing a series of official bootlegs called Lost Not Forgotten Archives since last year. So this is a reissue of something that was previously available only through fan clubs and websites. But can you tell us how you decided to release it again this time?
Well, many years ago, Mike Portnoy had the idea of doing what we called Yitze Jam Records, which was basically our own bootlegs. So we would release demo tapes, live shows, cover albums, things like that. So it was just like sort of a side project, and we printed everything on CDs at the time, and we had somebody selling the CDs for us, and that went on for several years, and we put out many titles, like 30 or something. But after the years, after Mike left the band, it kind of just like faded away, and those CDs were difficult to get, and they sort of stopped selling, etc. So we had the idea, what if we sort of created this central place where Dream Theater fans, Dream Theater collectors could get all of these things on vinyl, CD, downloads, streaming, in one convenient spot, sort of like a collector's corner, like a fan's corner that they can go to. So we sort of reimagined it as the Lost Not Forgotten Archives. And so not only are we remastering and making those old releases available again for the first time on vinyl, download, streaming, etc., but we also added to it. So it's a growing catalog. So now we have new demos of albums that people haven't heard the demos for, new live recordings with Mike Mangini, older Dream Theater shows with Mike Portnoy in the band that nobody ever heard before. So it's a continuing, evolving project that's going to go on for many years. And again, the great thing, if you go to the Dream Theater website, if you go to dreamtheater.net and you click on the Lost Not Forgotten Archives page, you can see so far everything that we have, and it's just beautifully laid out. And you can pick and choose which one you want. If you want to stream, if you want the vinyl, it's just a great way of it's almost like giving back to our fan base. Like, this is all of the hardcore collectors stuff, and there's one place you can go and get it. So that was the point of that.
By revisiting past recordings, did you get any hints or tips for recording new material?
Not really. It's kind of fun to listen to that stuff, but it's more like almost nostalgic, because you remember a show like, oh yeah, it's like for example, there was a show, there's a show that we're going to release that was from a festival in Japan that I hadn't heard. It was probably download many years ago, and I hadn't heard it in a long time, and I was like, whoa, that's really cool. So it's kind of more like nostalgic when you hear some of that stuff.
Okay, so it was a pleasant surprise or a nice surprise for us Japanese fans that the first release in this series was the Images and Words live in Japan 2017. Right. So it was also a great opportunity to listen to the arrangements, which were different from the studio album, while checking them out again. So did these new arrangements change naturally as you continue to play them over the years?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, certain songs that happens, like if we've been playing songs for a long time, we might change it over the years, just to make it differently, or maybe we like add an extension to it and add a solo, and then it turns into something, and it's sort of fun to do that. It doesn't happen with every song, but every so often with certain songs, we will do that, and so then it becomes like the live version, which is cool. It's something different. Wow. And I'm happy that we released that show from Japan. That was a fun night, a great show, and of course that's one of our most beloved albums is Images and Words. So I thought it was a really good way to start off the series for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, some artists don't like people to hear their unfinished demo recordings.
Right.
But not in the case of Dream Theater. So what is the reason for releasing demos this time?
Well, it's a little bit of a weird feeling because, when you're making demos and writing, you're not doing it with the intent of people hearing it. You're just doing it because you're working on stuff. So in a way, it's a little bit embarrassing. In a way, you have to just sort of let go and say, okay, this isn't great, this isn't perfect, but this is letting people see how it's made, like what's the thought process, And, I think about that, like if I, as a fan, if I can go back and listen to or see footage of, for example, Rush writing the Moving Pictures record, like I would be so blown away to see that and hear it, even if it was really rough, even if it sounded horrible. You don't really care about that. You just like, you want to get a piece of that. So I think that's the mentality, you have to go into. When we release the demos and we release these live shows, they're not perfect at all. There's lots of mistakes everywhere. It's not, but that's not the point. The point is that we're sharing these moments in our career for our fans. Yeah. So you have to, as an artist, you have to let go and say, okay, I'm not going to worry about, all the details. Whereas, when we make a studio album, everything is like exactly perfect the way we want it. It's a whole different thing,
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I understand. By the way, how many albums are you planning to release in total as official?
I don't know. It's a lot. It's like I said, it's sort of breathing. It's living and breathing. It keeps on going.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how many in the end.
Okay.
A lot though. Yeah.